Hey everyone, welcome back to Evony with Genghis. So one question I get over and over is, how do I make a good siege defense? So I'm going to be honest. I'm going to show you what I have, and you could use the same ratios. Let's go into my troops. But the bottom line is you're not really going to make a good siege defense unless you spend some money, because there are some key things that go into a siege defense. So I'll just look at any random report I have here, and I am the defender, so that's cool. And it's just a random person doing those one troop attacks, hoping that you attack them. But the key here is going to be these siege debuffs. Okay, so yeah, they only show 400 because the guy's his attacking buffs are only 800. So you can only do 50% of it. Most people know that. So you're really not going to have a good siege defense unless you get it at least into the 600s. And wait, I know that most people here are going to say, whoa, I got 1200. It's got to be 1,000. People who are asking me these questions aren't going to get that, right? They're generally lower coiners or early game people. If you can get siege HP and siege defense debuff into the 600s, you're going to start doing a lot better on your defenses. How do you get it to those numbers? Well, you find gear and generals on the subs that do it, right? So Jan Carroll does a lot. He does a lot of HP and siege defense debuffs, and the gears that you'd put on them, most of that's going to come from Civ gear, so it's going to be difficult to get. There's also Baldwin, who's a lot easier to get, and he does a lot of range and siege stuff, so it helps out. So General Nero, that's actually a really good example. I should show because he's in the tavern. I still use him. He does a lot. So you can see right there, 35% HP for all troops at 7 stars. That's really easy to get since he's in the tavern. And he'll get the defense done as well. Anyways, let's get off of that. Let's get to the thing that most people want to know. The troop composition. So first off, if you're not going to spend money, you're not going to be able to defend a rally. That's just bottom line. Unless you have a really big person in your alliance who, let's say, they can give you T15s or T16s or a siege level of troops that the attackers don't have. So if they don't have a 16 and he can give you a 16 or she, that's obviously going to help you a lot. Now, solos is going to be a lot easier to not necessarily defend, but deter, to stop someone from attacking you. So if we go into my troops here, and so if I see T15s, I'm not soloing, okay? Like, I just know it's going to be difficult. If they have T15s and they're K41, 42, can't solo. It's just not going to work out well most of the time unless they're an unbelievably weak K41. Now, what I generally look at when I'm going to solo is, first I look at the 14s and I wonder, are they attractive? Like, I want them to have some, like 2 million or 3 million, but I don't want them to have a lot. Then I'm going to look at the 13s, and I don't want them to have too many. Like the T14, I'd love for them to be 4 million or less. And the T13, I want it to be like 7 million or less. Once it starts to get into the teens, like 12 million, 15 million, if that's all they have and they don't have any 11s or 12s, I'll solo because I know I can hit them twice and get all of them and get a lot of points. But if they also have a lot of 12s and 11s, like say they have, 20 million, I'm not soloing. It's just the payoff's not going to be there. I'm going to lose the point trade. Even if it's kind of close, I can't really play the long game trying to get to it. So that's what you basically need. You need at least in the teens for 13, 12, and 11. And that will prevent solos because people just aren't going to be doing it. But you do need those HP debuffs to start to get into the 600 level. Now, another thing that you really have to look at if you actually want to go a step above, if you want to start defending siege rallies, what you're going to need to do, you're going to need to be really, really thick on siege. And basically, you should have double siege than what you have of other layers. So if we go down here and we look, so if we get to T5, and you can see my layers at the 5s are generally, so I've started to work up my ground actually, so they're 25 million, trying to get that all the way through. But for the most part, everything's 10 million. And siege, I've got 33 million there. That's a little bit of an anomaly because I build T5 siege all the time. I kind of want to have a bit of a wall there because that's the level where they start to have more range than T4s. So T1 to 4, I don't have too many. T6, you can look and you can see 10 million and I have 20 million. So 10 million archers. My ratios are kind of messed up because I've started to build ground. And T6 horse is the first level that they take ore, so I used to just throw ore in there. But if you look here, this is probably the best example I have. So you want double siege of what you have of your other layers. So I have 10 million archers, 10 million horse, and 20 million siege. And then if we go to the next one, I have 12 million, 10 million, and then 28 million because I just started to make them. And why did I start to make 28 million of T8 siege? Because T8, 9, 10 siege are very, very nice for depth against range and siege attacks. Once your top siege start to die off, they really become involved in siege attacks, and they continue to keep your city well defended and insulated. But eventually, you know, if all your top siege are gone, and you're probably just going to eventually die anyways, but you'll get some more defenses. So to recap, what do you need? You should have double siege to what your layers are. So if you have 5 million of each, you should have 10 million siege. Now, I can't give you a specific number of siege you need because you might be at different levels in the game. You might be on C6, you might be on C4. But if your layers are 1 million, you should have 2 million of siege. That's generally the rule that I have, double siege for every single layer. At the top, to recap, to avoid solos from large players, you need to have over 10 million siege of 13, 12, and 11. That will deter them and make them stop hitting you. I can give specific numbers there because I know the people who are going to be doing siege solos, even if it's C5, they're going to be K44 and above. So you need those numbers so that they look and they don't see that it's easy. You need to get those siege debuffs up over 600 to avoid complete disaster on some of those hits, especially rallies. And to defend rallies, if you don't have strong siege, you're going to need teammates with siege. So that's to recap it. But the bottom line is, guys, if you're not spending money, don't worry about your siege defense. Find another way to build a keep. Just become a keep that doesn't have siege and horse, and you are a ground and archer keep. And those aren't easy to kill. And people generally avoid them. I don't like attacking those keeps. Oh, all they have is ground and archer. I can't do a quick hit for points. I stay away from those keeps. And you can become one of those also. Don't follow the trend. Don't be like everybody else. I need siege, I need siege, I need siege. You don't need siege if you don't spend like those people. Let me know in the comments what you guys think about it, and like, subscribe, leave a comment.